That should be all right, eh?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. So I'm mid going to the tip, which is all fun and games.
Nice. All right. Well, let me kick this off, and then we we can get into that.
Okay, cool.
Hello again, mate. Remind everyone of your name.
My name's Nick Rado, and I'm a stand-up comedian based out of New Zealand.
And where are you right now, Nick?
So I'm currently in a place called Hatfields Beach, driving to I don't even know what it's called in Australia, but in New Zealand we call it the tip, the dump.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Crowdworkcast. My name's Andrew Barnett. Thanks so much for joining me. Interesting episode again today. Returning guest Nick Rado is on the show. He has recently taken up a job doing some very, very local breakfast radio in North of Auckland, a place called Rodney, which is gorgeous. So really excited to chat to him. We had a really good, funny chat. He jumped in late because had a bit of a booking snafu, but all good. This is a fun little chat. Before we get into that, though, I do want to thank everyone that came out last Sunday to Newcastle Comedy Club to see my show. How good there! It was really a lot of fun. Just a really good attendance and very, very fun show, good crowd, really thoroughly enjoyed it. Big thanks to the guys at Newcastle Comedy Club, James, Elliot, Ethan, who all helped make it happen. A big thank you to Ethan Bentley, who was the local comic up there, who jumped up and did a bit of time at the top to get the crowd going, which was nice. Always fun to get to work with people. We weren't sort of on a hard out time crunch or anything, so that was great. If you do want to come see that show, the last performance of that show will be on November 3. It's a Friday night, 7 p.m. at the Sydney Comedy Store. There's still tickets available for that. I would love to really get a good crowd along to that. That's like, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast a few times. It's been a bit of a goal of mine ever since I started comedy, is to do a solo show at the Sydney Comedy Store. And this will be the first time I'm doing that. So if we can get a bunch of people along, it really increases the chances of me being able to do that again. But also, it's a fun show. I'm proud of it. So if you'd like to come along and see that, I'd love to see you there. Tickets are available at alist.com.au or the Comedy Store website, or if you're on my socials, if you go to the link, there's a little link tree there with, and you'll be able to find link to all that sort of stuff there. So if you're enjoying the podcast, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. If you watch it on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, all the stuff that people say on YouTube. So enough plugging. But yeah, this was, like I said, this was a fun episode. Nick's a great mate of mine, and we had a really good time. So enjoy this. This is my chat with More FM Rodney's very own Rado in the morning. That's not what he's called. It's just Nick Rado. But you'll enjoy this. Good fun chat. The tip.
Yeah.
The place where when at a certain age, the most exciting thing Dad could say is, "Look, hey, I'm doing a run to the tip. Jump in the car."
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's actually a day out now. Like this is, it's better than I don't know, it's better than quite a lot of activities that our family does together it's the tip run. Because it's whatever is in the car. What you have to really be careful though is that there's stuff in the car. Not everything in the car is going to be thrown out.
Mm.
So you have to really say, okay, so kids, the mats in the car, they stay with the car. Just don't that little the little air freshener that's not run out yet, mate. Just
Hey, hey, the keys that were in the console, kids. Anyone see them?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The only garage door opener that we've ever had. Where's that place? Where's that? So
Oh,
yeah, no, we're off to the tip. So we've just moved house. So I've been actually away. I was away on a cruise ship doing some comedy on a cruise ship for
oh,
about
nice.
5 days, to lovely Fiji, and then yeah, so avoided a lot of unboxing, which is great. And then but my part of my duty now is to then get rid of said boxes at the local tip. So here we are,
That's
mid run.
that's a shame you avoided the unboxing, mate. That could have been heaps of content for your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Nick unboxes stuff they moved from another place.
That's a great thing. You know what? I think I might do that on the radio tomorrow, mate. You've got you've filled a voice break there for me, my friend. That's a great little angle on that.
Mate, it's all content all the time.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
So you mentioned it there, mate. Now you have recently picked up a breakfast radio gig in your
Yes.
local town.
Yes. So so this is the dilemma that comedians have, and we get offered a lot of stuff because when you get to a certain level of in your career as a comic, you get people see you do well on stage, or they see you, they see your stuff online or wherever they see you, and they just instantly assume that because you are funny in that 4 or 5 minutes, that that's what you're like 24/7, and
Yes.
that you can just come up with this stuff, and that you haven't actually been trying to craft these exact words into this order for the last 15, 16 years.
Mm.
So yeah, so they just think that you can just do it like that. So a lot of like comedy acting or TV writing or TV stuff or movies or whatever. And the same thing happens with radio, where um, so and the thing with radio is sometimes that you feel like, especially as a stand-up comic, uh, especially for me, like sometimes I feel like if you're doing anything other than stand-up comedy, that you're doing it a disservice, because we know, like, we all know how hard it is, and a couple of weeks out of the game, we feel a bit rusty, and we just feel like there's no better gig than that fourth or fifth gig of the week on that Saturday night. Like that's when everything's firing. You've got your set list up your sleeve, but you do 10, 15 minutes of riffing, and it's
Yeah.
all it comes out in stand up form, as we call it.
That you know the set list well enough that you're confident to just sit in it. You're
Yeah.
if something happens in the room, it's not going to throw you completely.
In fact, you will it on because you're so you know how the set list is going to go.
Mm.
But but yeah, so I was a bit sort of nervous about taking it, but it's so basically what it is. It's for More FM Rodney, which is the district that I live in is the Rodney district, and it's just north of Auckland, so it's
I
kind
have to tell you that the fact that it's called the Rodney District
of
is just it's such a I remember being over there years ago, first time in Auckland, hearing
yeah,
stuff about Rodney. I'm like, who is this bloke?
yeah. Oh, and what's better is there's a sign that when you at the beginning of it, it says you're now entering Rodney. So it's eh, it's the best bit is at the end when when you go further north, and it says you're now leaving Rodney, and it says please come again. So these are these are things that you can actually take photos. The next time you're traveling here and you want to come here, you can absolutely go to those signs and have real life photos. So I'm the More FM breakfast announcer for that area, and it's quite a it's the thing is, New Zealand's a small country, and this is small town radio. So this is maybe, I mean, it's like maybe 45,000 people listening at a time, which is good listenership.
That's a sizable audience.
It's a sizable audience. I'd love to have that on a regular basis. But when you but the thing is, because it is local, part of the deal, part of the gig is to do local. So I have to every voice break has to be something going on in the area, or something going on, or like an event, or interviewing a local person, for example. And then I can then do my, like, hey, funny thing happened to me on the way to the tip. Let me do my unboxing bit. but it's quite interesting to how I get around those things. At first, it was like I just don't think I can do this without it taking the piss out of it or taking the mickey out of it
Mm.
in in some way, shape, or form. And so now it's kind of that's what I do. I kind of do it tongue in cheek. So there was there, there was a talk at the local Whangaparoa library, and it was this woman called Kate somebody. Oh, Compost Kate, she's known as in the area. So she is an expert
This,
in
I've got to
yeah
tell you, this already sounds like an episode of Little Britain.
Compost Kate. Well, this is the thing. This is what I'm like. I'm trying not like these are actual real life people. And she did a talk about how important composting is and and how important and she did a whole talk on worms and how important worms are. But
Yep.
so and like there's just so many ways as a comedian you're just like, oh, this is gold. But because I'm getting you know, paid by the man, I have to be a little bit respectful. But there's little things that I can absolutely jump on and try and make fun of. Like the talk she said was suitable for kids that were aged 3.5 to 9 years old. And so I'm like, that's very specific. Like
Yeah.
how if you're 3 or if you're 10, don't even
Don't
think
bother.
about getting into it. You are this is not for you. Get out. You
Yeah.
may as well
Hey,
go
look,
to
you find
yeah.
your own worm resource.
Yeah, that's probably it. Actually, you're probably too young to know about worms, and if you're older than 9, you probably should know already.
Yeah. Well, three and a half is that age. They famously stop eating worms at about three and a
Yeah,
half.
yes,
So
totally.
yeah,
I
any younger than that, it's carnage. She brings out the
yeah,
samples.
it's just dinner time for
Yeah, yeah.
it's just free lunch for whoever the under threes are.
Mm.
But so there's that, and there's also did you ever get this in Australia? Do you remember potpourri? Was it potpourri was ever a
Yeah,
thing?
potpourri. My grandmother used to have always had potpourri in the house. Her house always smelled a bit like roses.
Well, last week I found out that potpourri was invented in Rodney,
Oh,
and
get out of town,
the very they're claiming it. The very first potpourri manufacturers or whatever.
mate. If this is up there with your Pavlova claims and your you wait, there'll be some small town in Australia that goes, bullshit, New Zealand invented potpourri. That was
Yeah,
our thing.
yeah, and and it'll be a town called Potpourri.
Yeah.
Potpourri, Western Australia. It's going. Hang on a second. We definitely invented that, but
I
yeah. So
no,
little things like that, mate. We're just finding all that kind of stuff out on the local radio. But for
sorry,
me,
I can't. I got to say, I find it very hard to think that potpourri was invented anywhere in either Australia or New Zealand. Because if it was, it'd be called what we used to call it as kids, potpourri.
yeah.
There's no way you'd have a soft tea in the title if it was invented in New Zealand. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
I think it'd be more likely Australia because of the because of how hot it is, the laziness of the language. Sometimes you can miss a last syllable. I could get that, and even in New Zealand, where it definitely would probably miss the middle bit. That would be it would be almost like pitpourri.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You don't generally miss the consonants. You mess up the vowels over
yeah,
there.
we're all over the place with the vowels. Yeah.
Mm.
So but yeah, so I think listen, I can only go off what people are telling me, and when you're
You know what?
three and a
Content's
half minutes,
content.
when you're 3.5 minutes into a local interview, and that is the highlight, you just go with it. You go with that, and you go with that content, and then you play Adele like you intro Adele like you've never introed Adele before, and
Oh,
yeah. And so, and that I think that was the highlight of, like in radio as well, you have to like do like a best bits of the day to highlight and advertise your day throughout the rest of the station. That was a highlight. That was a highlight. So
So
that
what's
was
obviously you're on the breakfast shift. So what time's that start?
so I'm on 6 till 10,
Yep.
but uh yeah, because of stand-up comedy hours, it's quite a gear shift. So I tend to prepare my show in the evening and then try and wake up as late as possible. So I'm getting up at 5. Luckily, because it is local, it's the studio is 4 minutes from my house. So I just rock up. I get up at 5, and I think I'm rocking in there at about 25 past 5, and then I've got to somehow get my head around the day. 35 minutes.
So
and
yeah, that's where like famously, your big talkback hosts, your national talkback hosts are going through all the papers, the
yeah,
news.
yeah,
But you're doing the same for the local Rodney.
yeah.
So are you on the community Facebook?
What could be a local Rodney take on the Israel-Palestine situation?
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. How do I localize this?
How do I sum it up, put a local spin on it, and get to Ed Sheeran all under 2.5 minutes?
And keep it upbeat, light. People
and
don't want a depressing start to the day, Nick.
the biggest thing, because I get air checked pretty much every day because they don't trust me on this little show. And the biggest thing is, listen, we love your stuff. It's funny, it's interesting, it's compelling. We love that potpourri, but more of that stuff. And but have you got any more energy? Like, can you be a bit more? Can you be a bit more upbeat? Can you like when you're talking about Rodney, like we want to feel like you live in it. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I do.
I
I
don't
do
know.
live in Rodney. That's
I do live
probably
in
why
Rodney.
you're getting the energy. This is a Rodney energy.
Yeah, this is this is Rodney Energy 101.
Yeah, this is
So
exactly how people feel when they wake up in Rodney.
so there was a bit that I did, a voice break I did. I think I'll try and get it out for you. What was it? Oh, yeah. So there's just a bit that I did. It was like I woke up and it was the first voice break of the day, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? It's Rodney's More FM," and then I just went, and then that was how people were greeted at first thing in the morning at 6:03 a.m.
Oh, I'd love
Uh,
if they cut the promo out of that. Mornings with Nick Rado. Oh, g'day, it's morning. Oh
Mate, I just gotta do some tip business
yeah,
here.
here we go.
Hold on a second.
I'm just going to commentate this live for the listener. Nick has pulled up at the tip.
Just yeah, so cardboard and a little bit of general waste. Yeah, yeah.
Cardboard and general waste is what he's getting rid of today. He's got the wallet out of the pocket. He's looking at the bloke.
Oh, easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
all good.
The guy said to him, "Are you doing a podcast?"
This is the first ever podcast uh tip run that's ever been done. I
This
mean,
could be. This could be the first ever podcast tip run. This is
if we claim
really
potpourri is made in New Zealand, I'm going to claim that this is the first ever podcast about the tip situation.
mate. If you're not talking about this tomorrow on More FM Rodney,
this is the biggest plug that it's ever got. So yeah. So anyway, so how do you want to do this, mate? Should we keep? Do you want me to be live rubbish?
yeah, you can do live rubbish throwing if you want. So
Okay.
what are you backing it? Oh, is his indoor? This tip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. I've just been told that I've gone too far. My
Classic,
my car.
classic shock jock. Going too far.
He
Look,
just he did it. He said like go like that too far, and then he did R, and I said oh R for ratings. It was like yeah, that's what it is.
all right,
So I don't know if
mate,
we're gonna do this.
Why don't we
maybe.
take a break to let you actually get out of the car and deal with people?
Well, I think depending on how, because this is a wireless mic.
Oh yeah.
Uh, oh, where did it go? Oh, can you hear me?
It's on the seatbelt. I can still hear you. It's on the seatbelt.
What? There we go. If we do
Mate,
that,
you never see Rogan do this, do you?
I reckon if Joe Rogan went to the tip, that would be 1 million views right there.
Oh, easy. Easy.
Give me 2 seconds, mate. I'll just go
No
unload.
worries. Yeah. Nick's dropping off
I don't know if you can
cardboard.
still.
Rogan to be dropping off moose carcass and
Right now, did you hear that or no?
I heard some of it. I heard some chat about Carnival cruise ships. Are you throwing out Carnival cruise stuff, mate?
No, I was just saying that has Jimmy Barnes ever done like, because I was just saying like there's a lot of cardboard, not much general waste. And it sounded like a Jimmy Barnes song. And I was like, has Jimmy Barnes ever done a song about going to the tip? Like he's all about,
Yeah. Yeah.
working man.
Probably the third verse of Working Class Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, working hard to make a living, bringing shelter
Yeah.
from the land, occasional tip runs.
Yeah. Just to get away from the kids.
Yeah. It's hoarding
But
crap
I've got,
behind the house.
yeah. Yeah. I think, all right. So I'm just going to pay now.
Here we go. What sort of rates are we talking in New Zealand?
Well, I don't
Mate,
know.
this
I'm
is great.
hoping anything under $10 is a win, I reckon. Anything
Ooh,
over that is,
mate.
I feel like I could have
You're
fly
talking
tipped
to
it.
you're talking to a bloke who lives in Sydney. Anything under $10 is nothing. Like it's ridiculous.
21. All right.
21.
Okay.
That's more like the tip rates I'm talking.
There you go. Thank you. No worries. See you later. Oh, good. Let's get a receipt. Yeah, why not?
Oh,
Thank
here
you.
we go. Receipt.
Appreciate it.
Just so you got something to dump next time.
She said that's the best customer service I've had all day. She goes, thanks for choosing us to dump your stuff with. We know you have a choice.
We know you have a choice between the tip and the side of the road almost anywhere.
I think she heard me say that. I think that's why she said thanks for choosing us. I found this. I was going to throw this away.
Oh, what do we got? Oh, the Rodney Times.
The Rodney Times.
Mate,
So this is
how often is this periodical coming out, mate?
this is once a week.
That's pretty good.
On a Thursday. And I mean, to be honest, there's not much in it. But I probably should have thrown it away. But just to prove that this place does exist and that there is a circular paper.
Mm.
But yeah, man, it's all go. But anyway, I can't remember where we were. So we were morning radio. Yeah, so it's a difficult one because so I have now got to come up with like, and because it's local radio, it's all myself. So most shows have a producer, or a website person, or
a bit of a team,
co-host, just anything team. We've got a sales team. We've got a person who does like the ads and sells the ads, and then like a manager. But then that's it. There's only 1, 2, 3. There's 4 people and me, 5 people who work at the whole station. And but I do everything. But the person who voice coaches me is like voice coaches like national radio, and so he voice coaches me like this is like I've got a team of 20, and it's like going, so what we need to do here, see that bit there, you could have, we could have made a whole journey of that. That could have been a 3-month bit where we follow you across, multiple facets of like, like we could be out next time you're out there, how do they dry the flowers? Do they, where do they source the bathtub?
What are the types of potpourri? Is there different scents?
What? You know, we like, and then you culminate with you
What
making your
what
own
town
scent.
what town in Australia also claims to have invented potpourri, and why do we hate them?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when did they decide on the silent or the soft tea?
Mm.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know, but then it ends with the you know with the listeners they can choose the scent, and you know we can have like a listener giveaway where you know and it's all for charity and all this kind of stuff, and you're like, all right, mate, well we can do that, but
Yeah.
but then if I'm doing that, then who's going to do the rest of the show? Because
You're
that's a
listening
lot.
to Potpourri Radio on More FM Rodney.
Which I feel like if it was to sum up what the station is, that's what it would be. Potpourri radio. It's like it should be a genre in itself.
Now,
Um,
years ago, I
yeah,
did a community radio show with a mate of mine, and it was funny because it was like someone asked me what it was like. It was like a like a body corporate or a tenants organization.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
not like like an owners association of a set
Yeah.
of villas were running a radio station because it was all just these older people, and it was, and yeah, it was insane the hoopla you had to go through.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like with I think it's like that whole saying of with great power comes great responsibility. I think with little power comes massive egos. And like if you have any team leader or any kind of thing like a body corp, or even if just someone is in charge of the social club
Yeah.
at your work, and or even you know just getting the people to sign the card for whoever's leaving or whoever birthday it is, that the power that they have, the ego that comes with that is something else, I think. And
Uh,
that's what I'm learning at the minute. It's like this is it's everything for these other people, but for me it's like this is one of the things that I do.
yeah. This is 4 hours out of my day.
This is literally
Yeah. That's,
but
so talk to me about the like the rest of the programming. What
yeah.
is, because obviously you're leading, you got a good mid dawn shift coming in before you, or are you just taking in something else like on a
So
from the bigger
yeah, so
network?
basically it's a national, so it's national, I think midnight till dawn, and then it's local breakfast, and then everything else is networked. So the feeling of the station and around Rodney is like this is man, they're giving away trips to Rarotonga. They're they've got $1,000 giveaways. We've got potpourri in the morning. It's a big shift. It's a big shift from going from national, like fully, you know, teams of people to me in the morning. But where I where I think I've got a hold over them is that a lot of my stuff is it's funny and it comes from a comedic kind of point of view. So I just try to sort of chat about my life and doing a tip run, instead of me saying, "Oh, I went to the tip" as generic tip, I would say I went down to the Silverdale Refuse Centre, and everyone's, "Oh, yeah, I know that one."
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, and they go, "Oh, $21 here. I used to I remember it was four milk bottles."
Yeah. All right. Today's phono. What have you paid for at the tip?
Yeah, and so they love it. They love it all, and I get people. I'm doing that Kiwi thing where they'll ring out and maybe
Oh, you're gonna have to
last
go
week
again there,
before I went
mate.
away on that
You
cruise.
just you just broke up over the what was the Kiwi thing you did?
Oh, okay, hold on. Maybe let me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was an internet thing more than a.
So, yeah, one of the most Kiwi thing that they did was this woman called up the show and she goes, "Oh, when you started, I just thought, who's this guy? Who's this guy? I can't be doing with this every morning." So I was searching around for other radio stations. But you know what? Over the last couple of weeks, I've heard you grow, and you know what? You're really funny. I love hearing about your family and your trips around locally, and do you really live in Rodney? And I was like, yep, yeah. And so uh and so and I go, oh, let me record this. Let me record this. She goes, no. And she got real serious. She goes, no, this is just between me and you. I'm like, what is this? What is this place? I'm literally now just having a one-on-one conversation, and I'm seeing Ed Sheeran tick down. I got to speak after Ed Sheeran, but thinking, oh, I could fill a voice break with this caller, and she's like, no, I do. I've rung the radio station, but I do not want to be on air.
That's
I'm like,
so
no.
fun, man. I remember when I first started doing stuff at SEN on the radio
Oh
there.
yes, yes, because you do radio too, so you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
We do. I do a bit of fill in over there, and I remember the text line. There was a guy who calls himself signs off as the Reptile. That's it. He self-identifies. That's his name. He gives himself the Reptile,
yeah,
and the rep he would when I first started. He'd like text in, boys, great show. He'd say, Professor, love ya. Brooksy, so good.
yeah.
Gibbo, always great. Barney, I'd rather slam my dick in the car door than listen to you. Like he'd single me out, and then like it took like about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then he just texts in, Barney, I was wrong about you. You're all right. And after that, he was on my side.
Mate, it is, and you know that they're doing it because they're trying to be funny and they're trying to be like, and I think because you are so good that you think he thinks he knows, so I'll rib him. But actually, when you like anything, when you're starting out anything new, you're like, I'm
Oh,
I'm getting no feedback. I'm just doing what I think is right. And for you to come in there, it really cuts to the core.
I said that day, I said, listen, if anyone's driving on the M4 and they see a car pulled over and a guy just giving himself the business with the car door, I said, just give him a honk, let him know you're listening to the show. That'll be the reptile. And but yeah,
But also,
like,
because he is the reptile and he does that with the door, he can afford to do that because it'll grow back.
yeah.
So, so actually, it's the ultimate compliment because
Mate, I'm willing to knock one off for you, and then have it grow back. It'll take a few days, but it'll be right.
you're fine. That's what I do. I am the reptile. The
Oh,
reptile is a funny thing to yeah to give yourself as a nickname. I remember when I first because I this is my second stint at radio. I used to do radio back in the day before comedy even, but it's been
not
years.
on this scale though, obviously.
Oh, obviously, actually, I was actually on a bigger station when I started. Ah,
Yeah, right. It was local, London local.
yeah, it was. But if anything, I've gone backwards. But anyway, that's by the by. But I used to start off with really, really enthusiastic about it and like going, yeah, I want to change radio and I because my name's Nick Rado and I thought, oh, this is what I'll do. I'll put Nick Rado putting the rad back into radio.
Oh yes.
Yes, love that. And then I did it a couple of times, and then some of the older jocks went, "What are you doing?" Oh, and I was like, "I don't know, mate. I don't even know what that meant." I was like, putting the rad back in the radio. No, I was just literally saying this is coming up next. There
Putting the
was no,
rad back into radio. By rad, I mean radical.
yeah.
Coming up next, I'm going to read from the Communist Manifesto. All right. This break brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Or is it?
Yeah. The official drink of the proletariat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that would actually be putting the rad back into radio. There's been a couple of voice breaks where I've actually thought if anyone's listening to this, this could be Ofcom or what I don't know what they call it in Australia, the broadcasting services.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
where yeah, it's yeah, I think there's only one time I've been told off in the month I've been here, and it was this is my first taste of censorship, by the way.
Ooh, here we go. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, can't say
Um,
anything anymore. Here we go.
no, no, I'm allowed to. I think I'm allowed. But yeah. Anyway, the chances of these people listening to to this, I'm
Mate,
willing to take that.
Yeah, they're listening to Rodney, More FM Rodney all day.
Yeah, all day, 24/7. So I did this bit about the cost of living, how it's really expensive. But because I live in the city, there's only like kind of a couple of places where I could go in terms of doing my shopping. And in New Zealand, we have these really funny names. We don't have Woolworths or Coles or anything like that. We have Countdown, and we have another one called New World. So when you go in there, it's not just this. It's a new world. It's a new world of possibilities. And but their wraps are very like so like the wraps you get to not
Like,
like they don't have any fillings in them or anything like that. They're just like the tortilla,
yeah,
you
the
know.
soft tortilla type thing.
That's it. $7 for
Ooh,
for a tortilla wrap, or like six of them. And so I do a big thing about cost of living and how it's expensive, and the whole bit is about me getting value for money from this, because these wraps are $7. Now I'm like going around the free samples. If they're struggling with packing my bag, I don't offer to help them or that kind of thing. And I'm just sort of getting little bits of free stuff wherever I can, just to try and scrape back that extra dollar that they've just suddenly chucked on these tortillas. So I do this link and then go home for the day, and then get a call at 2 p.m. going, one of the major sponsors is really unhappy, thinking of pulling their money from the show. And I didn't realize that New World Walkwork, which is one of the major sponsors of the show, basically pays my salary. and
did you explain to them you were talking
and,
about Countdown,
and I
not
go,
New World?
yeah, yeah. That's like, I was actually, the other New World from another county, whatever it is. But yeah. So, but then I go, well, so I can't talk about cost of living. I got really like defending the bit. I didn't
Mm.
even care. I was just filling. I was just filling 2 minutes of a 3-hour show, and and then oh yeah, all of a sudden I get real like I can't even talk about cost of living. And then I had this conversation. It's like, well, if this is happening on this local level, imagine what's happening on a national level, the censorship that's going on. I got all real conspiratorial on it. And like if this is what's happening here, then who knows what's happening at bloody you know
Yeah.
the
What is
fire.
Big Pharma behind?
Yeah. Yeah. No wonder Pfizer's in so much trouble. And yeah, so it was all fun and games. But yeah, no, it's a bit of a funny old thing, the old radio. Like, I am enjoying it, but it is very different, and it's a lot of energy at the minute. Like, even though it's only 4 hours, and you think, oh yeah, that's cool, that's a good amount of time. It's it is a lot. But what I am actually finding is that I'm having lots of ideas for stand up. So out of the however many 30, 40 ideas that I've got to come up with per week, one or two of them will be really good for stand up. So I'm finding that actually it's yeah, it is actually really good for stand up. And yeah, these little bits that also resonate with people as well, like some bits where I'm just thinking, I'm just filling time here, and then they call you or they text you and they go, oh, I love that bit about, like, I did this bit about how it's this time of year you get the phone call from your parents about what's happening for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And and it's always the thing of like, oh, and they're always nudging or no one ever wants to like go, it's at ours this year. So everyone's sort of feeling each other out. And so they're kind of going, oh, what are you thinking? Oh, we're not too sure what we're thinking actually. Well, and then my mum just did the whole thing of
Well, you've got a new house.
got a new house, would love to see it, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, you should come round. And then she goes, and then as soon as she said come round, oh okay, then that's it. We'll come up, we'll do, but only if you don't mind, only if you're not doing, nothing. And I'm like, I can't say no.
Yeah.
But then off the back of that, you then have to like go, um, you then have to go, uh, and I've got to tell my wife that I've invited what's the equivalent of her in-laws around for Christmas. But then she says, Oh, well, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that because I've invited my parents. So all of a sudden, we've gone from no one coming around to everyone's out around at our house. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I've just come back from New World. I've seen this price of tortillas. I'm dreading that Christmas shop.
You're doing the maths on how
It's
many
just
people are going to be
all.
eating tortillas at Christmas.
And there's seven, and there's only six. There's only six. I've got to buy a second. I've got to buy a second pack. And I'm not going to be.
Oh no, you've frozen. I've lost you. Nice big smile though, Nick. This is, mate. Wait till you watch this on YouTube. You're gonna love the frame it froze on. He's back.
Hey, mate. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
So, my phone said it needs to cool down before I can use it.
Needs to cool down. Wow.
Yeah. So it's obviously like maybe being bugged by a New World Walkway.
Yeah. Too much excitement early.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I've got to pick up the kids now to to uh for school.
Mate, this is a real slice of Kiwi life, this episode.
Do a tip run, go pick up the kids from school. They do. If I missed the bell, no. I think it's about in a minute's time from
Oh,
now.
well, mate, before you go, where can
Yes.
people listen to your show online anywhere?
Oh, listen, I think they can. It's called iHeartRadio.
Oh, I've heard of it.
iHeartRadio, and it's Rodney's More FM. You definitely listen to it because you'll see the undertones of comedy after listening to this. Like, cause me talking about Sharon and Susan doing a crochet thing down at the library, uh, is you gotta hear it to believe it. But also I'm thinking of, if you follow me at Nick Rado Comedian on Instagram, I'm thinking about doing some of the behind the scenes stuff of it, talking like this kind of stuff about it. So yeah, just follow me on there and we can go from there.
Mate, that sounds fantastic. I'm actually just looking now at the morefm.co.nz site, Rodney's Breakfast Club, for all things Rodney.
Yeah. Hey, I've got to go, mate.
All right.
Just got to pick up my daughter.
Thanks
See
very
you,
much
mate.
for that.
Have a good one.
Cheers, mate. Bye. So there we go. Bit of a different episode this week, but yeah, do go check out Nick Rado Comedian. Always got good stuff on his Instagram. If you get a chance to go see him live wherever you can. And listen, I've just brought up there's a Facebook page for More FM Rodney 88.9, and look, get on that and get involved, because there's such good stuff. Like there's a few things today, a few things they're asking you to get involved with. Best thing to do in Rodney this Labor weekend, and no, sitting in traffic is not the answer. Ooh, I don't know what the best thing to do in Rodney would be. Here we go. What's the one thing your suburb is most famous for? For example, you can't talk about Matakana without mentioning the Saturday markets, I should say. So, I mean, there's so much good stuff here. Apparently, Snell's Beach is quite popular over there. A lot of people saying that's a good thing to do this Labor Day weekend. So, yeah, I don't care if you're from Rodney or not. Get involved. Let them know what you think the best thing to do in Rodney is this Labor weekend. Why not confuse some Kiwis, eh? Other than that, thanks very much for listening. It's been a bit of a different episode, bit of a fun episode, and I'll catch you next week. Bye for now.